In 1950, it took approximately 4,637 hours of labor on average for the average American worker to own a home. As of 2024, it's 15,142. I don't think Gen Z is particularly buying the argument that they've been raised out of poverty, things have gotten better. I think Gen Z is actually livid over the conditions that they've been left by these policies.
Would you want to live in a 1950s home?
Yeah, why not?
Do you know the difference in the standards of what things
what is it?
like?
What are the standards?
You're not talking about the home. You're talking about the appliances.
Hold on. What standards? What are you talking about?
In this video, Elijah Schaefer and Brad Palumbo joined Tim Pool on Timcast IRL. Tim Pool's topic for discussion is economics and Gen Z. This great cultural discussion turns tense as Tim Pool takes issue with some of his guest statements. With that, let's watch Tim Pool school his guests on why they sound like an establishment economic shill.
Taking that job while he lives with 6 people in his apartment. That to me is disgusting, and that's the problem with all of the free trade, is it's been taken advantage of. Massive billionaires have I don't know if we say the R word, but have RAP, us and our economy. And I feel like, for a lot of people that are capitalists or whatever the hell this is, you cannot have capitalism without a nationalist or a national protection-minded society.
Nothing you just said is disgusting.
Let me address this. So outside of the whole Walmart scenario, in 1950, it took approximately 4,637 hours of labor on average for the average American worker to own a home. As of 2024, it's 15,142. I don't think Gen Z is particularly buying the argument that they've been raised out of poverty, things have gotten better. I think Gen Z is actually livid over the conditions that they've been left by these policies.
Would you want to live in a 1950s home?
Yeah, why not?
Do you know the difference in the standards of what things
what is
like?
it? What are the standards?
You're not talking about the home. You're talking about the appliances.
Hold on. What standards? What are you talking about?
Well, yeah, I am talking about the appliances. I'm talking about the kitchen in a 1950s
You're talking about government.
home.
You want government regulations on all of how the house should be built and all that stuff?
No, I'm
What's
saying
the problem with the 1950s home?
I'm saying that the homes that people live in today are vastly superior in too many ways to count.
Like how?
Made out of cardboard instead of wood.
Come on. Honest question. Like how?
Think of all the kitchen appliances.
Like what?
Think of the air conditioning, the stoves, the
They had stoves in the
microwaves.
1950s. They didn't have microwaves back then, but they had stoves.
If you like watching videos like this one, like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Let's get back to the video.
I'm not super concerned about a microwave.
The heating systems.
Like what? What is that? What is that heating system?
I'm not an expert in heating
And why make the
systems.
argument?
Because it's true.
They had stoves, they had fridges, they had dishwashers back then.
So why don't you go to a museum where they have this set up, what the typical home was like in 1955, walk around and ask yourself if you'd rather live in that home than the home that you presumably live in or most Americans live in today. You might. I mean, that's up to you. I think 99%
You're asking,
of people
ask a
would not say so.
24-year-old, would you like to have your own home right now with a 1950s stove, a 1950s refrigerator, and a 1950s dishwasher, or would you like to live in a bachelor apartment?
Hold on. This whole framing is incorrect. Housing is not unaffordable today because of free trade. It's because governments across this country have made it impossible to build housing. That's why we have a housing shortage and housing is so expensive. And in fact, the kind of protectionist policies you're talking about would make housing more expensive. You put tariffs on the imports that go into building homes, you're only making it even more expensive.
Why can't they make money?
Why can't who make money?
Why can't Gen Z make money?
There's a million reasons for that. Our government has screwed up our economy beyond control.
Maybe they can get a job like their parents and work at a steel mill, maybe. What do you think, Elijah? Can they get a job at a steel mill?
Well, can we talk about...
That's, by the way, that's why Gen Z is both the laziest and hardest working, is because there are no traditional paths towards wealth. There's no like, hey, just get this job and then you will have a home. They have to be genius, and with that comes pioneering new avenues. And I'll tell you, I hire some Gen Z people. One of them carries his laptop around by the screen.
Wow. There's a lot here. What does the quality of the home have to do with what they're talking about? I don't even know what he's defending. We're just talking about the fact that you have to work almost 3 times the number of hours to own a home in this day and age that you did in the 50s. And if you think about that, that number should be significantly lower. You'd expect some increase, and that some increase would account for the modern conveniences we have that he's talking about. But it's a terrible argument because just 5 to 10 years ago, I'm sorry, I'm not looking at the numbers, the amount of income you needed to earn annually was significantly lower than what you need to earn annually now to be able to own a home. That's a problem. So on top of the number of hours that you need to work to own a home, increase that we've seen in that time span. Think about the inflation too. Think about the value of a dollar. I mean, that just exacerbates the problem more. That's more evidence that it should be much closer to the number of hours that it was in 1950 than it is now. Because the number of hours shouldn't be the thing changing. It's the amount of money. But that is due to inflation and people get paid more. So you would think that would offset that number of hours argument, but it doesn't. So it's just harder and harder for folks to get into a home. I'll listen to more of this. I don't exactly know the answer right now, but I do know a big problem is big financial firms are buying up homes and apartment complexes and things like that. They're moving into residential real estate. And, you know, if you're looking to purchase a new home and you found your home you like and you realize you're up against an investment firm with $8 bajillion, do you think you're going to win that bidding war? I'm no financial expert, but I doubt it. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
It scares me.
Elijah, sorry, can we stay on?
But I'm saying, but he's a genius and he'll do well in life. But I'm going to say the current old paths that people had towards wealth do not exist, and we have to understand that's because of policies and choices and the movement of understanding.
It's not because of free
trade. No, but even if you want,
but can we stay on steel for a second? Can we stay on steel? I want to talk about steel. So a great example of this
let's go with metal.
is when I say that you guys oppose free trade, what you're really upset about is just inevitable progress. I mean, look, the invention of the automobile decimated the horse-drawn buggy industry.
Sure did.
Destroyed their jobs, destroyed their culture, destroyed their communities, but it was social progress. You cannot put the genie back in the bottle when it comes to trade. Steel is a great example. President Trump tried to in his first term. He put tariffs on steel imports from our allies and from other countries in order to try to increase domestic steel production. And it worked a little bit, right? You had a little bit of an increase in U.S. steel production, but actual, and research on this is overwhelming, actual employment in U.S. manufacturing overall.
So why can't Gen Z make money? I do agree, as someone who has an undergraduate degree as well as an MBA, I can tell you that the value of those degrees is so degraded since my parents were in their prime in the workforce, and even since I graduated college. So what I do agree with is that there did used to be a path, and that's kind of what my parents' expectations were. Get out of college, get a job, continue to get pay raises over the years, fill up your 401k, retire, because that's how they did it. And they had very fulfilling, joyful, happy lives, but it's just not the same for people now. College, and again, this is coming from someone who's spent a lot of money on college, it is becoming less and less worth the investment. The tuition is skyrocketing. Our educators have failed our kids because they offer majors, we always joke about it, but offer majors like, you know, lesbian dance theory that will never get them a job. So they're getting out of college like, I got a degree in what though? So prediction I've had for probably 2 years now, so I don't know when it will kick in, but I believe year over year there's always an increase in the number of students attending college in the U.S. At some point, something has to give, and that trend will start to reverse because there are just too many opportunities where you don't need to go into debt and spend 4 years of your life out of the workforce, where you could just go straight out of college and make a lot of money, whether that's entrepreneurial, whether that's at trade schools, which in my opinion, it is a gold mine right now because everyone wants to be, you know, Elon Musk right out of college. But what we don't realize is we really, really need those people. There's a finite number of them. You know, we need plumbers, we need electricians, we need builders. And if that's a career you choose, the long-term income potential is unbelievable. And I think more and more people don't realize what a great path that is. As far as Gen Z grads, and I'm talking about college grads. I don't know if they're talking about Gen Z in general, just grads, but speaking about college grads specifically, I definitely think they have an entitlement problem. Like they think they should be making $100K right out of college. And if they don't, they'll say, I can't get a job out of college. To me, the logical answer is, well, you don't have one right now. That doesn't mean give up. You keep working hard at the job search. And in the meantime, you need to make a living. So maybe work at a lower level in the industry you're interested in. It will be impressive on a resume. People like someone that's in maybe a higher position that has worked, you know, that has gotten their hands dirty, and it because they know that person understands the ins and outs of those employees and the needs and the challenges. But you can't just sit on your ass and say, well, I didn't make $100K when I stepped out of college. Oh, well, you have to be persistent. the same thing that anyone who's been successful in this country is. They're persistent and they're very focused on their goal. The advice I'd give someone just getting out of college is like, okay, if you're not getting your dream job right now, whatever job you take now, like I said, will give you the experience, but also it's not for the rest of your life. This is a means to an end. You're gaining experience, but you're also being self-sufficient and paying your bills right now, which is something you need to do. But this isn't going to be the rest of your life. You will eventually get the type of job you're looking for. Keep networking, keep sending out resumes. If there's a certain industry you want to break into out of college, you will get it eventually. It just may not happen on your time frame. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
Suffered. Multiple times more jobs were destroyed than created because the cost went up in all the other industries that have steel as an input cost. So other manufacturing industries lost jobs, so steel could be protected a little bit. More people lost jobs and lost income in all the industries that rely on steel as an input cost. It's a huge net negative to American society.
And there's a
but
phrase.
it protected some people who are well connected and favored.
The saying goes, a society grows great when, the original phrase was, when men plant trees whose shade they know they will never sit beneath. And so what you're describing is what I call the heroin addiction economy, where it's let's continually gut and destroy the root of labor in this country for short-term gains in other areas. I don't care if a top-level company is going to decrease a little bit if it's going to restore the base and foundation of jobs in this country. So
you don't care about policies that destroy
I don't
hundreds
care
of thousands
about
of
the
jobs
fruits
on
of the
negative.
poisonous tree. And saying now that...
Well, I do.
Great. And that will lead to the destruction of this country.
Now, maybe I'm making some assumptions in the comments that I'm making because I believe there are jobs out there. Again, for Gen Z kids, it might not be the one you want at that moment, but I don't know what all this talk is of they can't get jobs. If they clarified and said they can't get six-figure jobs, well, yeah, those are very competitive jobs to get. And you're going to have to compete just like everyone else does to get those jobs. But I don't understand this, you can't get jobs. I believe there are a lot of people looking for employees out there. Not to mention, working builds character. It gives you a sense of accomplishment. What are you just going to stay at your parents all day, check job boards online, and feel like crap about yourself? That doesn't seem like a good alternative. But we want to hear from you. Why do you think it is, at least like they're saying, that Gen Zers can't make money or find jobs? Let us know in the comments. Anyway, as always, really appreciate you watching, and we will see you on the next one.